All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. We're going to see if it has BSS for its local search, Naperville, Iowa, or for its city search, Naperville, Illinois, and its city search, Chicago, Illinois. So we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And more about that, pinned video, home post somewhere on this profile. And this is because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph here in white. Over on the left, we got the highest intent peeps, Google searchers, social searchers, searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city today, right now. Focus on talk about BSS here in all our videos. Over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps, peeps that ain't searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. And actually, most of them have no idea what the heck boudoir even is. We reach them through interruption ads on Instagram and Facebook. And we talk about that over on our sister brand, profiles, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And over there, we currently only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. If we got 0 slots on page 1 on Google, man, we're basically already dead here. Because we now have the data, we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even never even go to page 2. They're page 1 and done searches only. So approximately 80% of the marketplace. So that's the bulk of the marketplace. So we're invisible to 4/5 of people from page 2 or deeper. So we gotta get on page 1. But 1 slot on page 1, that ain't enough. Because guess what? There's 10 organic slots on page 1, which means, if there's 9 other boudoir photographers, everyone's got 1 slot. Everyone looks the same. No one stands out. So guess what? A buyer is simply going to click down through everyone, open everyone's website, do price quotes, price shop, price compare, negotiate, and, that kills our margins. And since we're not, we don't look any different, we do not want either of these scenarios. Now, 0 and 1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It is the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation. So that's, more boudoir photographers entering the marketplace every single week, it seems like. Basically, anytime anyone gets a new new iPhone or new camera, new gear, they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir. They're throwing a website saying they shoot boudoir, and they are throwing up they're posting them on Facebook groups saying they're now for boudoir photo shoots. So the same number of sellers, or large number of sellers to the same number of buyers, means it's harder for every single seller. Margins compress, people disappear. And so everyone really understands market saturation. It happened in a big way with COVID. People lost their jobs, so they still had to work. Everyone's got a phone with a great camera. Okay, easy to start a boudoir photography business. Market saturation. Now, the one most people don't know about is the false belief of page 1 equality. So it seems like a lot of boudoir photographers simply kind of, passively accept that, as a boudoir photographer, you're going to get either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google, and that's simply how it is. But what actually happens is, let's say you got 1 slot on page 1 on Google, you're on like slot 8. If you new boudoir photographers into the market, pushes our website back to slot, whatever, somewhere on page 2. And boudoir photographers are like, oh, well, that's how it is. You normally get either 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google, and that's simply how it is. And this is 100% incorrect. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days. So I know it's false this is a false belief of page 1 equality, that a boudoir photographer gets, 0 or 1 slots and that's it, because I went and did the opposite. So what I discovered was that Google will actually give as many slots on page 1 as somebody wants to put in the effort to acquire. So, okay, now we can build a solution around this, and we've done that. See that in 2 pictures. Now, a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer at DBP. And, if we got 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper, invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. Obviously, we're disappearing. But if we're on page 1, we got 1 slot, we're still basically invisible. It's basically disappearing, being price shopped against everyone. Both cases are bad. And we care about disappearing boudoir photographer because if we are a disappearing boudoir photographer, that means our It's kind of like the warning light, the flashing check engine light, the warning signal, saying, hey, our boudoir photography business itself is on the path to actually disappearing. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We've discovered through testing that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And S-cubed methodology, it works exactly as the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. So we show up there when they search them. And when we do this, when we saturate social search, that's kind of like all the snow on the backside of the Andes Mountains, the east side, down in South America. That snow melts, goes into small streams, flows into small streams, small rivers. That's social search saturation. And then that all flows into the Amazon River. That's page one search on Google is the Amazon River. So it all starts with saturating social search. And the interesting thing about SQ methodology is it's the only thing that I've seen that can allow the boudoir photography business to continue to grow in the face of market saturation and even massive market saturation. The only other second thing that could allow that is having a large, well-known brand. So brand would obviously solve that. But that takes 5 to 10 years to acquire. We don't have 5 to 10 years. AI is here taking people's jobs. We need to dominate fast and fight against market saturation as fast as possible. And something I see that, kind of looking at estimates here, I believe SQ methodology can actually help people build a brand actually approximately 8x faster than normal methods because we're showing up so frequently on so many different surfaces. So it's kind of like the only turbo brand builder boost thing out there. So imagine if you've got a large well-known brand and you're using SQ methodology, you're basically untouchable by market saturation. So an example of still growing in the face of market saturation, let's say we're in a boudoir. Let's say we're in, I want to go to Virginia Beach, Virginia. Let's say we're in Virginia Beach, Virginia. There's 1 million boudoir photographers there. Each boudoir photographer has their own websites and issue boudoir. Everyone's fighting for those 10 organic page one slots on Google. Massive competition. And what actually happens is we're like, man, the only way we can compete, well, if we had brand, but we ain't got that large, well-known brand. So the only other second option is we got to utilize SQ methodology. So we take it, we crank it up to the max. And when we crank it up to the max, let's say we're ranking for the first 300 slots for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords across all of social search. And when we do that, let's say that flows out onto Google, and we saturate the first 300 slots, page one of first 300 slots of Google for those highest intent boudoir buyer searches. And it's 10 organic slots per page on Google, so that means we're taking up literally the first 30 pages. And so for any boudoir buyers out there, anywhere they search, social search, Google search, we're basically the only boudoir photographer that pops up. We've literally taken all the slots from everyone else. This would be SQ methodology to the ultra super max. But if we're essentially the only one being found, whose business is growing? Ours, in the face of massive market saturation. Whose business is disappearing, slowing down, vanishing? Well, it's the 999,999 other boudoir photographers that can basically only be found Google page 31 or deeper. And we already know approximately 80% of searches never even hit page 2. So dude, who's actually going to page 31? Ain't nobody going to page 31. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we have page 1 visibility, P1V. So initial benefit, more slots, page 1 on Google. Second initial benefit is actually, when we take those more slots on Google, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1 and putting them on page 2 or deeper, effectively making them invisible. And when we do that, we actually turn them into disappearing boudoir photographers, and eventually they'll most likely exit the market. So a lot of boudoir photographers actually get this benefit better than the first one we talked about. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So the GBC universe recommends, as a recommended minimum, of getting 3 out of 10 slots on Google page 1. And that's because if everyone else has got 1 slot, our 3 slots, we're going to dominate them, look way better. People wonder why Google's recommending us so much and be clicking through ours. And in the super rare case someone else has 2 links, well, guess what? We are R3 still looks better than there too. So we're basically dominating all scenarios here. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality, which now we know is false. And we now have a solution. We can utilize S-cube methodology to solve all this. Achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results, utilizing S-cube, purely utilizing S-cube methodology for myself. So I want to, frank for the term here, BLCS Boudoir, I want to dominate page one of Google, BLCS Boudoir. So I utilize S-cube methodology, started with 0 out of 10 links on page one of Google. Let's see what I was able to get to. So we got organic, slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I was able to go from 0 out of 10 slots page one on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page one on Google in only 10 days. And these are my results I got purely using S-cubed methodology. All right, now into the main event here. We're going to see this boudoir photography business, if they got BSS for either their local search of Naperville, Illinois, or their city search of Chicago, Illinois. So, all right, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got cooking. So we're in Naperville first. So, boom, we got one. We got one slot. Boom, we got 2 slots. All right, nice. So for local search, we do not have BSS boudoir search sameness. We got 2 out of 10 slots, but we did not meet the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page one slots on Google. Next, let's go look at city search Chicago. Super competitive here. So let's see. All right, we want to see how many slots we got here. All right, we actually got 0 out of 10 slots for the city search. I mean, Chicago's super competitive, so no surprises there. So no BSS for local, yes BSS for city search, but for both local and city search, we did not meet the GBC recommended of 3 out of 10 slots in Google page one search. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer with BSS boudoir search sameness at either the local or the city level, meaning either got 0 or 1 or 1 out of or 1 slot on page one on Google, and you're seeing the market's simply going to get more and more saturated. It seems like a new boudoir photographers, remember, joining every single week about. And also you're seeing with AI that, man, a ton of people are going to be losing their jobs more and more into the future. And the last time that happened, COVID, there was an explosion of boudoir photographers. So you've decided that, hey, you need to prepare for AI, pushing more, increasing the supply of boudoir photographers, then competing for the same number of buyers in the market. And you've decided, well, page one Google search, dominating that seems to be the best way with the highest intent keywords, which flows from dominating page one search of Facebook search, TikTok search, Instagram search, and YouTube search for those same highest intent keywords. Google is just a byproduct of that. Google's the end result. But you want to dominate on Google, so you realize with S-cubed methodology, you got to dominate on social search first as well, which kind of hits 2 birds with 1 stone. So you're seeing market's going to get more and more saturated. You've realized, especially looking at this picture, that page one equality is a false belief. Having 0, 1 slots on page one, false belief. That's simply normal. It's not. And that we can actually take as many page one slots as we want to put in the effort for. And you're seeing that S-cubed methodology is the best way to do that. To achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, and achieve page one visibility, or boudoir search visibility. And also, the back end, literally the back end extra bonuses from doing this S cubed methodology, which would be your business, your brand name is more tightened around these highest intent keywords, which means higher chance we show up in Google AI overview at the top of the search, higher chance we get featured in AI search for ChatGPT search, Claude search, whatever, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search, because of these bundling of this history, this kind of momentum around these highest intent keywords. And AI search is going to become more and more prominent. And last time I looked at AI search, it only gave 3 for a whole city. It gave 3 boudoir photographers. And so these are extra bonus things on the back end of doing S cubed methodology. There's literally no downside to S cubed methodology. It's like 5, 6 different upsides, upshots. And you're also seeing if someone else does it in your city before you, they're building up momentum for all these things. And you would, if we're already working with someone else, you'd have to do S cubed methodology on your own. Figure out how to do it and implement it, and then sustain and actually do double the competitor in your city to catch back up and exceed them. So, if you decided, hey, you gotta get rolling on this because you see what's gonna come happening. AI search is becoming more prevalent, and you decided, hey, this is the path forward, S cubed methodology. Then shoot us a DM. We are not doing new patient intake right now. Hospital's closed, but when we do new patient intake, we will open our DMs. And so no, you cannot DM us right now. DMs are closed, but when we do open for new patient intake, shoot us a DM and we will see if you qualify for S cubed methodology in your city. We also got to check, if we're already working with someone in your city right now, then we cannot work with you. And we got some other things we look at as well if we do have a slot open. But shoot us a DM at the time. We'll see if you qualify.